This is the last webinar before your trip to Warsaw to the study visit of program libraries Modern Agora. A few words about the organization of our program. We are very happy to have our partners here, also from the Center of Cultural Management in Lviv, from the Arsdor Foundation in Kishinev, from Novateka Moldova program, from Center of Contemporary Art in Tbilisi, and Kutaisi Scientific Library. This program is organized due to the support of program RITA, Region in Transition, financed by the Polish American Freedom Foundation, and also due to the support of the City of Warsaw. Hello, Tamar. Nice to see you. So, a few organizational things about the study visit. I know that you have already a lot of homeworks. I'm very sorry to tell you that you will have more. So, my homework actually, and what I'm now very much involved in, is the program for you. The program will be ready by Monday. We are finalizing the last appointments for you. I really hope you will enjoy it. But in the meantime, what I would like you to do is to use your very nice mobile phones and prepare a very short 1-minute movie. So what should be this movie about? It should be very simple, and I would like you to try to think what are your expectations and hopes concerning the program, especially study visit. So you can record yourself at the airport, in the tram, at home, in bed, just saying, okay, you know, Kasia and Magda, you know, what we would like to see in Warsaw is the Palace of Culture and Science. And what we would like to learn is how to be a very good trainer in terms of local partnerships and advocacy. And we would like to see the foundation, for instance, of development of volunteering. Whatever you have in mind, whatever you think you're gonna be a part of in Warsaw, I would like you just to record and prepare a short movie about your expectations and hopes. Just don't feel that we are going to judge it, to evaluate your movies. What we care about having this idea is to have your communicate about your thoughts and expectations about the program. We know that thinking is a very hard work. What we would like you also to do as homework, but it shouldn't be anywhere written or it shouldn't be prepared, just we would like to encourage you to think about the last progress in your life or last things which happened in your life, things you have heard about yourself or things you came over in your life, which helps you to get some knowledge, which helps you to find solutions to some problems, which helps you to feel empowered or feel the sense of legitimization of your work, and inspire you to make the attempt to change your life. As I said before, you don't have to write it anywhere. Just think about what important happened in your life which makes you feel more empowered, more determined, more inspired to change your life and to find the solutions of your problems. So this is from me. Only those two homeworks. A few words of explanations. In Warsaw, you will have 2 workshops about analysis of your problems, of your ideas, how to change your life. And this is what helps us to organize this workshop. And then Of course, you will have 3 meetings with our trainers about the facilitation, about the local partnerships building, and about the advocacy. That's going to be very intensive training to be also prolonged during the Lviv workshops. But what I would like to introduce you today is that after the Warsaw visit, after the introduction to the training, after first personal meeting with our trainers, what you have to do is to choose your way of participation in the program. Because during the workshops in Lviv, you have to choose or partnerships building plus facilitation or advocacy plus facilitation. This decision has to be made after the Warsaw trip and after the first introduction. So simplifying, you have to choose your specialization and then you will continue your work with our trainers. Of course, I will describe it again with in my email, and I will try to sum up all the homeworks we ask you to do for Warsaw trip. So now it's already 10 past 10, and I will give the floor to Maya. So enjoy the webinar. I hope you'll feel good.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Maya Branka, and I'm working on advocacy for the last 4 or 5 years within the libraries in Poland. But I will tell you today about the libraries, but I think it is the relevant context for all cultural institutions in Poland, at least, and I hope in your countries as well. I titled this presentation as Advocacy is a way of thinking, because this is our general talk behind the agenda, that we want people and librarians understand that advocacy is something you have to strategize in your work, and therefore it's something you have to think broadly. This is the last seminar, and I know that you have discussed facilitation and partnerships before. And for me, from the advocacy perspective, it is the facilitation and the partnerships as are the tools for advocacy as well. So please think about the advocacy as the final step of the umbrella topic within this program. So I hope you can ask me any questions anytime. I will see the chat window. So if there is something too soon or too fast, please just let me know. So I'm gonna discuss with you 3 points. One point is context and the Polish experience. I want to describe it because I think it is important how it influences our way about thinking about advocacy, which I think usually is understand a little bit different than in the context of cultural institutions. The second point I want to discuss and introduce this is advocacy, the definition, how we're gonna understand it, right? How we gonna see the advocacy in the context of cultural institutions, and what it means to build advocacy plan. And the third point, they are the next steps before Warsaw and these trainings, what I would like you to do, what kind of preparation we can do. Okay, I hope you get it, and I'm here enough. Okay, but before we start, this is my first questions. How would you write your advocacy experience at this level? How you understand it? It's up to you right now, and I would like you to give you 3 options, like in a language course. The option 1, you feel like you are a beginner, you are interested and willing to learn, but you don't have much about the advocacy. Second one is intermediate. You have some practical experience and you know what advocacy is, but you don't feel like an expert. And the third one option is you feel like you're advanced, you have practical experience as well as theoretical knowledge. And this is how you can use it, our questions. You just have to click the proper option. So it's like beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Please mark this answer and this platform.
Yes, you can fill the polling now, and we are waiting for the answers.
Yes.
Okay, so we are still waiting for some more answers. I encourage you to fill. Okay. Does everybody hear all the questions and answers properly? Because there are still some people to go. Hello,
Hello.
hello. Did everybody fill the questionnaire?
Just a very short one.
Yes. Okay, and some more people now. Okay, great. So I think I will be finishing now, and then I will show you the results.
Okay, so we have most of people who are willing to learn and they are interested in the topic, and some people who are intermediate and have some level of experience. Unfortunately, we don't have this possibility to find out what it exactly means for you, like what it means for you to be intermediate. But I try to explain more in detail the definitions because I think this is first of all to understand what we are talking about. And during the Warsaw training, I will ask you more about your experience, practical experience on advocacy, of course. So let's go back to the presentation. And let's discuss the context first. And please think during my presentation, is it relevant for your country as well? Because of course there will be intercultural differences. So we start our program, and I think the title of the program is important because it shows you what are our main goal on this. And as you can see, it was named Appreciate the Library. For those of you who are fluent with Polish, it was called Docenić Bibliotekę. And with the name Appreciate, we have different levels, 3 different words for it. So first of all, it was to appreciate our own experience as an institution, as a library. Then we need to make others to appreciate the library more. Because we were starting from the point that the libraries in Poland and other cultural institutions, they were not really appreciated by the general public. For some people, they were very useful, but for many of the Polish people, they were not aware what kind of task and what kind of offer the library in Poland has. So what we wanted to achieve is more people understand what is the important role of the library in local communities. And what we have done. In our case, we have, as you see, 6 different tasks. First, we adapt the American materials on advocacy. Generally, advocacy as a discipline was developed within the US, which of course has a certain consequences. Like they're not all the stuff is proper for our context. But I will tell you more and we discuss it more in Warsaw because it's important to adapt it during your training. Second thing we have done is the training agenda and pilot training. So we check out with the libraries if this is what they think it's relevant for them and it's really good for the job. Then we develop a guidebook for the libraries, and some part of this guidebook is translated into English, and I will send it to you afterwards a seminar to read through to prepare for the brief training. And then we have 62 trainings for 62 groups. And as you can see, 792 librarians participated in this. And I think it is important number because it shows you the scale. We check the the advocacy for the libraries. And the training has two parts. Each lasts 2 days. The first part, we discuss what the advocacy is and how to develop advocacy plan. And the second part of the training is about public speaking. And as you can see, we have much more less time than we had with the libraries. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna squeeze the first part of the training, means developing advocacy plan during our Warsaw training, because what I want you to show is the essence of the advocacy in the context of cultural institutions. So, as far as there is no other questions to the first part, we can go directly to advocacy. So please, if you have anything to ask or comment on the chat, please do it now. I will just wait a few seconds to see if there is anything you need.
Guys, we are highly encouraging you to comment in chat, to ask the questions, because it's very helpful also for us to see your feedbacks, recommendations, which are crucial for the next step of the project. So if you have anything in mind, just please write it down, put it on chat, and then we can follow your ideas.
Yeah, this is a very strange feeling, because I know you can see me and I can't see you. So unless you write something on the chat, I'm not sure if you are really there.
Okay.
Okay.
If
Elena,
everything is
thank
clear,
you.
Elena
Thank
was the
you.
first to
I
go.
know. I know at least Elena is there. Thank you. Okay, so let's go to advocacy. I will discuss few points. One is the definitions, and I start with the general definition you can find out easily on the internet. And then we're gonna discuss the advocacy in the context of libraries and the Global Libraries Program, how it understands it. So, when you go to Wikipedia, the English version, what you find out when you try to research advocacy. Advocacy is a political process by an individual or group which aims to influence decisions within political, economic, and social systems and institutions. Advocacy can include many activities that a person or organization undertakes, including media campaigns, public speaking, commissioning, and publishing research or conducted exit poll or the filling of the amicus brief. And I will go detail what it means. For me, important is the first sentence. Advocacy is a political process, and so on, because within this definition, it's clear it's about politics, and then on the other hand, it is a challenge for working with cultural institutions, because at least in Poland, libraries didn't want to be involved in anything which consider politics, because at the local level, they just try to survive with the local government and try not to be political at all, not to be punished also. But of course, developing social policy or anything, in fact, it is politics. But that was a challenge, how to name it and how to discuss it within libraries. The second part of this definition is that advocacy can include many activities. And I think this is also one of the challenge to defining advocacy, because actually every kind of activities can be advocacy. What is the what it makes advocacy? It's generally the purpose. If we want to build the support for the aim we want to achieve, it can be used in advocacy. So partnership could be a tool or advocacy. Facilitations of the social process could be a tool of advocacy. Public speaking, media coverage, it all can be a task to use it in the context of advocacy, which of course it is a challenge, because within the training you can actually discuss anything and it's gonna be advocacy tool, but you have to frame it in the context of the goal, which is building support. And I will discuss it more later. So what I would like you to ask you after the webinar, before the Warsaw training, if you could think about this definition and see how it fits your ideas about advocacy and how would it be prepared, how you can discuss this definition within your cultural institution in the country. Okay, the second one, it's more developed as you can see, but I think it shows advocacy at more operational level, and I think it shows advocacy in the way it's usually understood by people. So this is the process of standing alongside an individual who is disadvantaged or speaking out on their behalf in a way that represents the best interest of that person. So usually advocacy is a tool for building representation and empowerment of groups who are underprivileged in the system. In this case, because this is the definition of the Institute for Family Advocacy and Leadership Development in Australia, in that case, there are the elderly people and the families. But let's go deeply into details. Advocacy involves representing and working with a person or group of people who may need support and encouragement to exercise their rights. It may involve speaking, acting, or writing on behalf of these people, has no prescribed or clearly determined method. And I think this is similar to the first definition. What constitutes advocacy will differ in different circumstances and according to the skills and needs of the individual or group, and it may involve working against established or entrenched values, structures, and customs in order to achieve the goals. So, is there any trouble with hearing? Yeah? No, yeah, it's okay. Okay. So, as you can see, those a little bit different definitions. I think they need to underline one thing. Advocacy is lacking, and what the aim of the advocacy is changing the system in the way it represents the group or the institution or the people. So we are advocating against existing structure a bit. So we try to change the politics or the system. And the second point I would like to underline is that there are no clearly described or determined methods. It really depends on the purpose and about what is needed to achieve the goal. And the other side of this definition is it's challenging for a training to describe what the advocacy is. That's why the title of this presentation is Advocacy is a way of thinking, because we cannot say precisely like this activity is advocacy and this isn't. So please keep it in mind when we're gonna discuss more detail the advocacy plan. And let's, or maybe let's check if there are questions to this point, because I think this is the more theoretical part I have. So do you have any questions about this? I'm waiting, looking on the chat window. Yes, theory is always hard to deal with, but definitions are good actually to understand what we really are doing. Everything is clear, Nina. Thank you. No questions yet. You are very supportive. Thank you. But still, if you have any questions, go on. Can propaganda also be used as a tool for advocacy? It depends on what you understand by propaganda. If you understand it as a manipulating of the communication, there is no way the propaganda is advocacy. As you can see, advocacy is a tool for those who are underrepresented. And the propaganda usually goes from government. Government do politics, they don't do, yeah, they are overrepresented, yes. So the propaganda is a tool for governments, and advocacy is a tool for underprivileged groups and ideas. So those who are fighting for equality, for solidarity, they will use advocacy, but not propaganda. Propaganda is is kind of manipulation, if I understand this definition. Yes, Australian version. Yes, that's why I was looking for two definitions, because the general one, they are too general and too abstract to understand, and I think this one is more operational. So what you can do, and you can research yourself. If you feel like the advocacy is something interesting for you, you can research yourself and find out your own definition of advocacy, which you like. Because I can assure you that every institution in let's say in the Western Hemisphere, which is dealing with advocacy, they develop their own definition of advocacy. So find out the one you really like and you really understand. Okay, so let's go. Let's go to the next step. And next step is something consider with your homework before the seminar. I ask you to read a story of developing advocacy in one of the libraries. This is the story of Alice, who's the director of the library. So the first question is, did you read it? Have you chance to read it? And I'm waiting for the answer.
Okay, we will not kill you if you don't read it. You can be
Yeah,
honest
yeah,
with
yeah.
us.
No, we are operating within the human race, so don't worry. Okay, you did. At least two
Some
people.
of you, yes.
Some of you rest. Don't kill me. Not really. No intention
No,
to do it.
no, you will come to Warsaw and then we will kill you. You will not get one of the beautiful dinners you are serving.
Okay. I didn't say it, so please don't worry. I'm not going to kill anyone. It's a bit difficult now because I'm gonna ask you some questions about the story. So for those of you who didn't read it, just please be patient. We're just gonna go through roughly for the two questions. My first question for those who read this story is, how would you describe the essence of advocacy in 2, 3 words based on this story? Could you please write it on the chat? How would you describe the essence of advocacy in 2, 3 words? Okay, we have a chat window right now. So for those who didn't read the story, you can just write from your own perspective. How do you understand the advocacy? Okay, few people are writing in the same time, so we are waiting for the result. Okay, Natalka, Elena, I see you are writing. Process of changing of influence decision. Okay. So decision-making process, how to influence it. And what are the other answers? Building partnerships so that the others will act for, and with you trying the passive support into an active one. Okay. Any more? Public speaking. Okay. Any more answers? Mobilizing the resources to solve the problem. Okay. Okay. And Maria. Understanding, guide, and support. Try to involve more people, institution to for something. Okay, I think you defined it perfectly, because I think the story showed you the operational level of advocacy. At the end, we are doing all of this. First, we have to understand our own role and position within the system. What is the system, which means what is the law, what are the possibilities to act, and how we want to change and influence the system, how we want to initiate the change in the society, as you still can name it. So first we have to understand where we are, then we have to understand where we want to be, and how we're gonna mobilize people to support us, to show politicians and local government what we really need and how much important we are. And not because we said we are important, but because many other people said so. So we're gonna need to guide our users in the context of library or the other cultural institutions, and to mobilize them to name their support for us. Yes, and all you said, like mobilizing the resources to solve the problem, guiding people what to do, involve more people to name their support, and at the end to change the system within we are working and to achieve our goal. My second question for the case study is, who's the target audience? How would you name it after this story or based on your own experience? Who's the target audience? Elena? So the second question is, in the perspective of the library, of course, in this story, who is the target? The community who needs support, the local community, the users. Okay, this is one of the group we need to mobilize, but to whom people, different cultural institutions, so other people who are around the library, but to whom we need to reach to achieve the goal, to change the system, to solve the problem. Who is our main audience in this case? How do you think? Media? They will support us if we gonna work it out. Yeah, the local government. So in the advocacy, we are discussing usually that we have two different target audiences. The first one level and the first target audience and the secondary target audience. The first one are those who are decision makers on the issue we want to change. So in this case, this is local government. And the secondary audience is those who can mobilize, those who we can mobilize to support us, to show to the local government that we are important. So we have two levels in target audience. First, the decision makers. Second one, those who can support us. And in this case, this is the local community. So the primary, the decision makers. Secondary, this is the media, NGOs, other cultural institutions, the users of the library in the case of this story. So we try to make a change at the primary audience, but we are helping by a secondary audience to do it. Okay, I see Katarzyna is summarizing this. Great, thank you. And the third questions, what kind of actions are undertaken in this story? What we can understand by advocacy in this case? Okay, are you there? Elena, thank you. What kind of actions are undertaken? Meetings, public speeches, proper people and institutions are involved in the process. Of course, those one we identify as important. Debate. We do roundtables. Yes, we prepare the strategy, how we want to mobilize the people. We are negotiating and facilitating the process with different groups. But what we can do as well, we can prepare a campaign, which we are not discussing today, but I'm gonna tell you more during the Warsaw training. So as you can see, a lot of different activities can be understood as advocacy. Our goal is always the most crucial, which says, is it advocacy or not? It depends on the goal. If you want to change the system and mobilize the support for doing it, it will be advocacy. Okay. The next thing is the summary of these discussions. So advocacy is a way of thinking about building a role and the importance of the library, especially among the members of the local government. And I mean library or any other cultural institution. The second thing is we are building support. We have to mobilize for cooperative action, explaining and promoting the library's role and campaigning by media or by other direct way of campaigning. And the third one, we which was important in Polish context, and I don't know if it's gonna be important for you as well, but it was important during our training that this is the job of every person working in a library, not just the director or a press spokesperson. Because in a library in Poland as well, many of the librarians think, okay, this is my director's job, it's not me. But because we have to mobilize our users and other people who are around the library, every person in the library has to have the same message. So the congruency of the messages during the advocacy is one of the biggest challenge, at least in Polish context. Okay, so just to finish up the definition sector, the advocacy in the library context. This is the definition we developed in Poland in our program, and this is based on the definition of the Global Libraries Program from the United States. So advocacy is the actions libraries and librarians undertake to influence decision making at the local, regional, and national level that help create a desired policy or funding change in support of public libraries in order to respond to community needs. And I know it's a very long one, but I have a graph I hope it's going to be easier to understand. So we have 4 questions the definition is responding. The first question is who? Who is responsible for advocacy? And this is the library and the librarian. We stress it that people understand that institution actually doesn't speak. The people make the speeches. So that every person working in the library is important. What is here? What you're trying? What's this description? I don't know. This is a new part of the letter of the definition.
No, this is not the new part. I'm
Uh,
just writing the word institutions and people, but it's kind of
uh,
slow.
okay, okay, but I will go to the second questions. I hope you got the point. The first one. The second question is what for? Why do we need advocacy? And as some of you wrote, to influence decision-making process. And this decision to be influenced can be different. Can be for funding, it could be for changing the strategies or cultural institutions. It really depends on the problem we're gonna raise. The third question is for whom, where we are aiming the advocacy. And these are decision makers at different level. At least in our experience, it usually in 99% it was the local level for local governments. But if you have the National Library, for example, or any other national cultural institution, the decision maker is going to be, for example, the Ministry of Culture. And the third question, what are the actions and tools that advocacy can use? We have a simple answer. These are the regular actions. So what you do every day as an advocacy goal. For example, how do you communicate? How your web page looks like? What is your communication policy? How do you describe what your library do? Is it mobilizing for people to tell their support, or it's not? And the other tools is campaigning, which is quite a topic, so I will not discuss it right now. But this is like the general overview of the advocacy within the context of cultural institutions. So please check if there are any questions you would like to ask, because if not, we then go to the advocacy plan. Anyone? No questions. Okay. So as you see, we have 6 steps to advocacy success. I will go very, very briefly today, because this is something I want you to see more in detail during the Warsaw training. But advocacy plan, from what we developed, this is 6 steps to prepare, and at the end you have a strategy for the advocacy goal you have. First step is defining library resources, like what we have and what are our strengths, and what we can show to the public and to the local government that we are proud of. So we can go roughly through the questions. So the first step, they are resources. What kind of resources do we have? What are our strengths? What we can show people that we are worth to support. When we've got it, we can go to the step 2. There are problems and needs. On the one hand, we are very good, but on the other, still we are missing and lacking some points. So why do we need to understand advocacy actions, and what is the issue we want to solve through advocacy? And we have some more detailed questions how to work on it, but as I said, in Warsaw, we're gonna do it more deeply. Step 3, goals. What do we want to achieve? What kind of support do we need? Because the main goal of each advocacy actions is always support. It's gonna have different kind of phases, this support, but this is what we are looking for during the advocacy actions. Step 4 is the audience. We have to analyze who is our target audience, who is our primary and secondary audience. As you remember, the primary are the decision makers, and the secondary audience are those who can support us. Step 5, the message, what we are going to say. Some of you said that the advocacy is a public speaking. It is in many different forms: speaking, writing, campaigning, media coverage, but we need to have a message. So short, persuasive, and memorable message. What do we want from you and why we need it? So what kind of support we are looking from you? Step 6, there are actions, and as I said, regular or campaigning, and regular means everyday communication activities and preparing and attending to different kind of meetings, building partnership, or campaigning any special actions we are undertaking to make some focus on the problem we try to solve. So this is very briefly, I know we have all day in Warsaw to discuss it. Can we have the presentation to email? Sure. And some more of you people are writing. The 7th one, no, we have 6 steps. 7th one would be to implement generally, but preparing the strategy, it's to develop those 6 points, and the step 7, go for it. But they are the plan we are showing you. This is about developing an advocacy plan. So there are 6 steps to plan advocacy actions, and then you just have to implement it, which is, of course, the whole different story how to manage it. Okay, so I'd be very happy to have the recordings and email. It will be very helpful. So you will see this in detail. So what are the next steps before Warsaw and before Lviv? I hope you're gonna decide for the advocacy specialization. So I'm just gonna show you how we're gonna work for the next 2 meetings. So in Warsaw, we're gonna meet for 1 day training on advocacy, and basically I'm gonna into details of what I just said to you, and I'll show you our case studies, materials we developed, and how can we just talk about advocacy for the 1 day, which is not too much, but at the end you are conducting your training for 1 day as well, as I remember, so it's gonna be similar to this kind of stuff you're gonna develop later. And the second part in Lviv in December, it's gonna, at least for my training, it's gonna have a frame of training of trainers, which means I will invite you to exercise, to run the part of the trainings, and you will receive feedback about what was the way you conducted it, and how we can make it more suitable for your context. So, homework. I know you have a lot of it, and it's gonna be more from my perspective as well. So just summarizing what I said. Before Warsaw, I know it's just a week before, but it's gonna be like really 20 minutes on the internet. Research the advocacy, see what kind of definition you like, see in your country if there are institutions who run advocacy, or if there were any other trainings on advocacy. Read the material, and please visit the library, because at the end you are conducting a training for the library. For those of you who are not connected with libraries but with other institutions, I think it's going to be useful if you go to your next closest library you have and see the reality, and see how you're going to be treated, and think if after this meeting you would support this library or not. And if not, of course, we have to think what should we do to build this support. And before the Lviv training, first you have to decide if you are interested in advocacy still. Secondly, please read the materials I will send you, because you have to prepare for conducting a small exercise on advocacy, because we are going to build the agenda for a 1-day training of advocacy, and I would like you to prepare, because at the end you're gonna do the training. So it's important to start an exercise talking and discussing advocacy as a trainer. So this is what we're gonna do in Lviv. Before the Warsaw, I won't send you the materials to read. In Warsaw, I just show you what we have. I will send it after Warsaw, and then you would prepare for the Lviv training. Okay, so this is all from my side. Any questions, doubts, ideas, you can write it now. We still have a few minutes, or you can email me, and you have my email here on the slide.
Yes, so I promise we will prepare the summary of all your homeworks, and I will send it in one separate email precising the dates, your range of duties, etc. So don't be afraid you get confused. Probably I'm gonna do it tomorrow, so you will have a few more days before coming to Warsaw to prepare yourself. Yes, so basically, I think we are going to the end, and I would like to ask you also to maybe to write and read and draw something. on the table, you can now use the table, you can use the pencil. Can you do it? Yes, you can do it. Great. So what's your basic expectations before coming to Warsaw? You can write something nice or not very nice as well.
Yeah.
Depends what are your plans. Sulkan, what you're writing? Oh, and there is one nice heart. Okay, great. And then I think it's a flower. Okay. Maria has to go. So good luck, Maria, with the Polish consulate. I know they are all terrible. I'm sorry to say. I'm gonna cut it off from our webinar recording.
Okay.
Yeah, but
You can just draw how the advocacy looks like. If you were explain it by drawing, how would you draw advocacy? I know it's challenging. It's
Wonderful
an abstract.
ideas.
Yeah, it's
If I
abstract
can
more.
say something, just keep us
updated.
informed, updated about your visas adventures. Um, okay.
Because we know how the process could be hard for you, and we are very sorry for all the complications, but hopefully very soon all of your countries will join the non-visa zone, and then we'll be done with all those stupid questions, invitations, and explanations. So we really keep our fingers crossed for all of your countries so that we don't have justify our presence, etc. Yeah, okay. So, if you have any comments, just please feel welcome uh, to write down something. Uh, okay, and
Just the final words. Really, if you have some specific questions or some doubts on advocacy, please write an email to me. Probably I won't respond to anything in email, but I will know what is the focus for you in Warsaw. So thoughts, ideas, doubts, please send me an email before you're coming to Warsaw. I try to fulfill them during the Warsaw training.
okay,
Okay.
so guys, it was my pleasure to meet again with you, and now we are really expecting to see you in reality at the Warsaw Airport. So please don't hesitate to ask us any questions concerning your stay, some organizational things, or the content of your visit. Send us any comments, recommendations, suggestions which you have in mind. We are really very open, and yes, we will try to refer to all of your wishes. Of course, maybe not all of them are 100% possible, but we are trying to do our best to fulfill your expectations. So take care, have fun with your homeworks, and